celebrate, and that's why I ordered the balloons. Doesn't it put you in kind of a happy space, a happy place? I love balloons. I think the little kid in me absolutely loves that. So this entire month is based on this book, which some of you already know and some of you, many, are reading. It's called The Path to Wealth. And it's the 7 spiritual steps for financial abundance. And it's a very powerful book because it gives you 7 steps. Like, I'm calling it the stairway to heaven. Remember that song? Who remembers, you know, all the way, I can't sing, but anyway, the staircase to heaven. Okay, so we won't do that. All right, so it's very important, this particular step. But before I tell you about that, we're having fun again. Yay! So much fun today.
That's not what I'm calling it.
Yes, you can. All right, so before I share this important piece and why it's important, I want to share with you, and who remembers the first 6 steps, the first 5 steps, I should say. Who remembers step number 1? Each week, I have shared 1 step, and then Ken has come up also and shared his wonderful sharing of that. So step number 1 was all about reading something inspirational every day. Just like we need nutrition and water, it's important to put inspiration into our mind. Step 2 is to write a gratitude letter for those things both that we appreciate and that we have in our lives, and for those things we would like to bring into our lives. To be grateful ahead of time brings it in quicker. It's lovely. Number 3, step 3 was to speak with emotion. You want to have some emotion in your life. Have you ever known anyone who's kind of like flat, monotone? So you want to have emotion. That's important. Engage your emotions. Step 4 is using your imagination. Bringing the picture, because our mind is a picture machine. When I won't say strawberry shortcake like I did last time. Because then I looked all over Kamloops for strawberry shortcake. Couldn't find any, so then I'll go to ice cream. You don't actually see the word, you get a picture. Our mind is a picture machine. So if you give your mind a picture of your heart's desire, it brings it into your experience very quickly. Step 5 is this was last week, expect leads and follow directions from CSO. What is CSO? Who remembers what CSO is back there?
Chief Spiritual Officer.
Yeah, a new name for the divine. I love when someone comes up with a new name. CSO is a name that our author, May McCarthy, came up with from her book, The Path to Wealth. And instead of calling it God, she called it CSO, which means Chief Spiritual Officer. Isn't that great? I love that. A whole new way to look at it. That was last week. And so this week, step 6 is to celebrate and note your demonstrations with Pizazz, and that's why I ordered the balloons. And I actually already found a home for them after the service. Where's Marina? Marina! She's so excited she gets to take them home. All of them home with her. And also anyone who would like their picture taken, it makes a lovely picture. So I brought my camera and I will email a picture of you celebrating whatever you would like to celebrate. So Oprah, who remembers Oprah? She said this. She's a pretty smart lady. This is what she said, and I quote. She said, the more that you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. I'll say it again. The more that you praise and celebrate your life, the more in life there is to celebrate. So many, many things happen to all of us, and I don't know about you, but very often something wonderful happens and it just kind of goes on by. In one ear, as they used to say, and out the other, right? And we're here to notice our successes, to celebrate them, because that is the energy. It lifts our energy when we celebrate. It lifts our energy. So celebrating is not only fun. It's not only fun. It reinforces in your mind that CSO, that this practice, this spiritual practice of alignment. And I want to show you, I just learned this, and we're going to practice this together because I love it. I was watching Montauk Chia, who is a Taoist healer and teacher from the Philippines, and I was watching one of his CDs, and he says, this is what you do. He says, when And you do this, and I've seen people do this, I've seen monks do this, and I never really knew what it meant. So what they do is they bring their arms up like this, and they put their hands together, and they're bringing together their mind, their sight, their heart, and their soul. And it feels really good, so let's try that together. So go like this. Oh, you're standing, okay, good. And you're gonna bring your hand all the way up, and you're gonna put them together in the form of a prayer. And you're bringing together your mind, your sight, your heart, and your soul. Let's do it again. So we bring together in perfect alignment our mind, our sight, our heart, and our soul. How does that feel? Does that feel lovely? Yeah. So when you see monks or other people doing this is what they're doing. I love that. So that was a wonderful thing that I learned. So we're celebrating, as I said, not only fun, but celebrating the many, many different aspects of our life. And Oprah, being a pretty smart lady, teaches us that. Now, Dr. Norman Dodge, some of you may have not heard of Dr. Norman Dodge. He has a book called The Brain That Changes Itself. And in that book, he says the brain has the capacity to rewire itself. And of course, all of us ladies, we know that we can change our mind, right? We change our mind. All of us can change. All of us can change our mind. So the mind can rewire itself and form new neural pathways. And this was taught in many, many of the teachings over the last, I'm going to say 10 years, about the law of attraction in the movie The Secret. You might have heard of that. That our mind can make new neural pathways. Every time you learn anything new, you have made a new neural pathway in your brain. So it's a delight to be able to do that. Anyway, he says, getting yourself up in the morning to do your spiritual practice and performing a daily spiritual practice, and then, of course, celebrating that, shows up in all kinds of actions that benefit us all during the day. And thus it reinforces our learning. So when we celebrate something, when we achieve something and we celebrate, no matter how large or small it is, we are reinforcing the possibility of even greater success in our lives. So it reinforces that. I love that. And once our demonstration happens, once we embody, once we create our heart's desire and it shows up, we are here to express positive expectation for that process and also to express gratitude. When we say thank you, when we are in gratitude, it is the great multiplier. And it feels good when people say thank you. It feels good to say it, and it feels good to receive gratitude. And so that practice of celebration being a very important part also of gratitude. And if you know that you will get to celebrate anything that happens, any good news, and you know that you're going to celebrate, it actually up-levels your joy and your fun. Who wants to have more joy and more fun? Anyone? I know I do. I want to bring joy and fun into every area of my life. Even if it's like cleaning the toilet. How can that be fun? Anyone want to take that?
Splashing in the pool.
I'm not going to answer that. Okay. Yes, we might move on from that. Okay, because I want to give you some examples of things to celebrate, how you can celebrate, as Pat so beautifully said. All right, so but I want to share this one example, and then I'll share with you some other ideas for all of us. This is from the book, and this is from Mae McCarthy, and this actually happened to her. Keeping in mind, she started 6 companies, and most of them were multi-million-dollar companies. So this is what happened. One of her companies received a request for a proposal to work with a very large hospital system. So she worked in the IT industry, and she created systems, offered systems, okay, that worked. And her company, though, was a little tiny company, and yet this giant hospital system, just like, can you imagine, all of BC is kind of on the same hospital system, and then Alberta's on the hospital system, and each province has their own system. Well, imagine if you they asked you, would you make a proposal? And here's her little company. But instead of thinking, oh, we're just a little company, She started to celebrate. She got really happy. They did a high five. They jumped up and down. They did the chest bump. I mean, they were just doing all kinds of things to celebrate. And then she found out that there were 4 other large, huge companies who also were invited to make her proposal. But instead of thinking, oh, well, we're kind of small, she celebrated even more. And she stood up, and every day out loud, because she encourages us to say our prayers out loud, she said out loud, she said this. She said, I accept that we are the ones that are selected, that our proposal is received, that we are the ones that are hired. She also said this, which I loved. She said, this huge hospital system chooses our little company as their supplier, and I am thankful ahead of time and appreciate the new partnership that is harmonious and a blessing to all. So what happens? They hired her company, and she found out afterwards that one of the bigger companies, that her competitor had underbid her by $1 million, and they still chose her. Why? Because she was joyous, she was happy, she provided a good service, and she said that that year they outdid themselves in their goal setting. They actually achieved a greater goal that year in her company. So these gratitude statements describing the good that she wanted really paid off for her. She did not spend time focusing on what she did not want, or oh no, we're not very big. Instead, she focused on the good and the celebration, and she was given the contract. It was a $3 million contract. So I just wanted to share that. And I also wanted to share with you some ideas, just a couple of the ideas of how to celebrate. It's very important because it builds and uplifts your energy when you celebrate all kinds of things. So I want to hear from you. What are some ideas that you have of things you could celebrate? What's a big idea? Like you would get married, or you would get divorced. I mean, some people celebrate both of those things, right? Yes.
Being free and living in Canada.
Being free and living in Canada. How good is that? What else? Anyone else? Buying a house. You bought your house, and it closed escrow, and now it's yours. You can paint it any color you want.
Having a baby.
Having a baby. Isn't that a beautiful gift?
Oh.
What do they say? A baby is God's idea that the world should go on, having a baby. Yeah. One more.
Going on vacation.
Going on vacation.
Or vacations.
Going on vacations, and then also right behind you.
Waking up in the morning.
Yes, waking up in the morning. Great. That's a good one, isn't it? All right, so here's some things you can do really briefly, and then I'm going to invite Ken up to tell you the other piece of this that he has worked very hard to prepare just for all of us. Here's some ideas. Okay, 21 ways to celebrate. I'm not going to share them all. 21 ways. No, just a few of them. Smile. I want to see you all smile. Smile. Smiling makes you and those around you feel good. If you don't feel good, a smile can trick your brain into feeling better. Another way to say it is, if you throw your heart over the fence, the rest of you will follow. Here's another one. Eat ice cream. To celebrate, eat ice cream, or for those of us that are more conscious about those kind of things, eat yogurt. Some, Greek yogurt without fat-free and without flavor. Okay, put some berries in. Okay, all right. A little green stevia. That's right. Okay. Okay, another one. Run on the beach. And if you can't run on the beach, it's so fun to run on the beach. Run on the beach naked. And if you can't physically do this, use your imagination. Let's try it. Close your eyes just for a second. Close your eyes. Come on, guys. Just play with me here. No, you don't want to see something. Close your eyes. This is just you on the beach by yourself. Close your eyes. You're laughing. Close your eyes and just see you. There's no one else around. There's just you. You're running down. You're running, walking. Yes, and you have the body of a 20-year-old, and you're running down the beach naked. I mean, isn't that beautiful? Okay, never mind. We'll move on. Of course, you knew I was going to say this one. Dance, dance, Dance. We're going to do that after his sermon. We're going to put on some music. You're going to have a chance. Sing in the shower. Visit, I like this one, visit the grave of a loved one and celebrate your continued breath. You're still alive. Play with a dog or a cat, like Jake. He's a dog. Take a day or even a few hours off to do something you always want to do, but never take the time to do it. Eat something you've never liked to indulge in, but once in a while, once a year, it's okay. Rewatch your favorite funny movie. Of course, you knew I was going to say this, and I was going to actually dedicate it to our laugh connoisseur. Laugh. Do something for fun and silly. That's a way to celebrate. Right? Exactly. Go outdoors to a natural setting, sit, close your eyes, and listen to the world. Go kayaking. There you go. Laugh. I had that one already. Okay, just a couple more. Believe and feel the change you want to see, and be the change that you envision to make the world a better place. Cry when you're sad. Last one. Love, love, love. Love, 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 love. Love yourself exactly the way you are now. Know you are a force of love in this world, and you have to love you first in order to be available to love other people. And I did forget one, so I'm going to say it. Go skinny dipping. Go skinny dipping. We have 100 lakes. You get your choice. Right? All right, so those are just some ideas for us to celebrate life, to the importance of celebration. And now, to complete this portion of the sermon, because we are sharing this month, let's give a rowdy welcome to the Most Reverend Ken.
Now, let's see, we talked about skinny dipping, and I think I'm a little afraid to go ahead, because who knows where the fertile mind might take us. Wherever it takes us, it'll be good. Well, I'm going to start off in the bedroom. Okay. This is the whole focal point of my talk today. So I'm getting very serious. Here we go. What is the nature of your thinking when you wake up first in the morning? Kind of that first thought that you have. You don't have to answer, but just reflect on it. Because for me, yesterday, I'm just going to deal with it as it comes. I was thinking of a bit of a joke here, but I think I'll stay away from that. Yesterday morning, I awoke from physical sleep, because that's going to bear on what I'm talking later, to thoughts of love. And more exactly, my first thought was, I love you, CSO. Ooh. Now, why do I mention that? Well, I don't know about your thinking. All I can judge is my own thinking. But it was the first time that I can remember in my entire life that I woke up with a thought of love. Typically, what is my thinking? It's, oh boy, I better get up and go. It's about fear. It's about what I've got to do. Or, gee whiz, why am I, it's about rushing. It's about confusion. And yesterday was the very first time, and not only that, the words. And I was thinking about, where the heck did that come from? CSO must have done a good job on me. But it's part of our evening practice too, planting that seed of gratitude and forgiveness. So why do I mention that? Well, because I think yesterday morning was one of the two greatest moments in my entire life. I consider it of similar significance to me waking up. I mentioned physically awakening. Me waking up metaphorically about 17 years ago. And that waking up was kind of the very beginning, as I look back, of my spiritual journey. And I awakened metaphorically from sleepwalking or sleep living or whatever. I was just not aware. I was not aware of thinking, let alone kind of whatever we're responding to now. So interestingly, these two revelations, and I did mention physical awakening yesterday, and I mentioned metaphorical awakening 17 years ago. And when I was first putting this together, I didn't make the connection, but I do now, and I share that to you. So obviously waking up is a fairly big experience for me in my life, perhaps with you. Interestingly, both of those circumstances have kind of come as revelations relating to these two books. Two little books, look. You can come up with books you can barely carry. Now, the one book, this book, I've mentioned it before here, it's called Feeling Good, and it's the New Mood Therapy. This is the one that was recommended to me by a doctor in Vancouver, and this is the one that prompted me to realize that I actually thought, believe it or not. How good is that? Yes, I was unaware that I was actually thinking. And secondly, that I could, if I didn't like that thought, I could change my thinking and make it a positive thing. I've spoken about that some time ago. This one, of course.
Who's the author of that one?
This one is by David Burns.
Thanks.
This one is the one we're focusing on now. That's the second book. That's our present focus. And it's the book that has guided and directed me in an expanding, growing, increasing relationship with the universal power. CSO, Chief Spiritual Officer, as we've been calling it. For me now, I think I've almost lost any reaction to the notion of CSO. What it has become for me, and perhaps for you, and I bless you, and I bless this journey that you're on, is that CSO is an endearing name for my beloved inner dwelling person, spirit, Buddha. It just is. And that's where CSO, I had no idea about this before I encountered the path to wealth. And now it gives me goosebumps. It's just that affectionate term. Right now, I want to acknowledge and salute my dear partner, Reverend Joyanne, for her originating wisdom and passion and love. It was her idea to bring this to us. And I guess that's what makes her the wonderful minister that she is. Because I know in talking to some of you, from my own experience, this book, this little idea, whoa, is fantastic. Now, is this deepening relationship with CSO that I am experiencing, is it worthy of celebrating? Oh yeah, absolutely. Is the 30 minutes that it asks of us each day to develop this life-transforming relationship, is that worth offering, contributing? I was thinking, when I go for coffee, I go for about an hour. Half of that provides me with the daily contact with the biggest thing that I can experience in my life. Oh yeah. Author May describes in loving detail step 6. And if you've got the book, you'll come up with these ideas around celebration. She offers these 3 suggestions. Number 1, When something good shows up, celebrate with someone you trust, in person, on the phone, or online. And the reason is so that we maintain that magnetic connection to our good. The second, after the more immediate celebrating, whatever that may be, take time to write down. This one I have trouble with, yeah. Seems like I've got lots to do and I just don't have time, but just make time. Write it down in your notebook or whatever, and somehow that embeds it, that deepens it. You commit to taking the time and writing it down, and that just makes it deeper and more powerful. And that written record that you might go back to, sort of like a journaling. I do journaling already. This is a little bit of an add-on. Number 3, this is for the birds. How many of you have been on a cruise? Anybody cruising? You might have been way out there, you can't see any land, and here are these birds flying around the ship, whatever it might be. Maybe you're on a rowboat and you're way out, whatever. I hope you're not. I hope you're safe. That's a scary thought. Well, let's move on. Now, what is it about birds and you can't even see the land? What is it about goodness? Something shows up. The indication of the birds is that there is the goodness that is there just waiting to connect fully with you. So that's an interesting notion. So some demonstrations are like the seabirds, signs that the good that you want is close to you. Now, my interpersonal celebration has taken on the form of occasional comments with Reverend Joanne. I guess I don't get too giggly about too many things. Goofy, maybe, but not giggly. I've been celebrating in my usual way, kind of writing down, and I will say thank you in my journal in the morning. Thank you for this and thank you for that. And we know that we can either say thank you for what we have or what we anticipate that we're going to get. Now, I simply await my expanding expression of celebration that May describes in my highest and best good. These are 3 ways of connecting perhaps with others, and if you are that type of person, you have a close-knit group, that's the thing that can come very easily to you. Others of us who maybe aren't kind of used to that, maybe for the first while, we simply go about our day and say, oh, thank you, CSO, as I made it through that streetlight. Or thank you, CSO, as I made it to the red light and I had to sit and just breathe for once or twice. Whatever it is, it's an acknowledgement and it makes it bigger, and I say it's a celebration. Here we come. For you, in whatever way, may your journey of expanding self-awareness, happiness, success, and prosperity continue wonderfully. Each and every one of you. May we all expect leads and follow directions in whatever circumstance comes our way. And talking individually here, many of you, probably every one of you, has had multiple things that happen and, oh, you know what I mean? It's a moment that you know that that presence of God is right there. And it's big. And you know it. So bless you for that. Blessings to all as we celebrate our growth in this most important journey of our experience here in this human garment. And so it is. Bless you. Thank you.